Not that one, but qualifying has commenced, and I think cars are setting off onto their flying laps. I don't know who's out first, but we'll just see by who's the first one to set a lap time. At the moment it does say Walter's first, so you'd assume Walter's the first one. What about that? Yeah, I think that's the case. So Walter looks like he'll be the first one to set a flying lap, the first one of the season, and he's on the gravel, and it looks like that's not the quickest way for Dunlop, and Walter has just lost a whole heap of time there. So that means Lorenzi will take the mantle as he flies through the deadness in this Ford car. Then Lorenzi getting a bit of a wobble on, Walter catching back up. I think Lorenzi's backed off a bit there. Luckman's going slow as well. Lorenzi, has he abandoned this lap? He's driving awfully slowly if he is pushing for it. And we know he's a quick driver. Where's Ruti? He's just apparently started the lap by the looks of things. We've got Raiden, who might be on an outlap. Don't really know. Fabuki. Hobo Fraggins, he's coming through to Spoon. He's not got a timer above his name. I think these guys are starting a lap. Ponte the Ponte, he's got a penalty. What a surprise. Lookman, I think he's just starting a lap as well. So here comes Walter then onto the back straight, which leads across the bridge, and 130R. He obviously went onto the gravel at turn 8, so that's not the quickest route through there. Raiden does go fastest, taking that provisional pole position. Fabuki, he crosses the line second, though I can't get to him for some reason. How about Fraggins? He's the next to cross the line, and he goes third and the slowest so far. Walter, he comes up to the line next, and across the line that's fourth. Obviously that mistake is going to have costed him. Lorenzi, he is next one to cross the line, and he goes sixth place. And Racer Tay pops himself up into fifth, but behind his teammate Ruti. He's not going to be the next. Is he the next to cross the line? I think. Vimman G, he goes up into third place. Lorenzi's going to be one man wanting to improve. Onto the Ponte, carrying the penalty, heading into the Casio triangle. Ruti's heading down the back straight as well. So here comes Hunty, the Ponte round the final corner. Where does his lap time place him in the order? And he gets on the front row of the grid there from Hunty. What an incredible lap that from Hunty so far. Not even only halfway through the session. Lorenzi's going to push him to try and improve his time. Where's Ruti? He comes out the final corner now. Is he also, how far up the grid can he get himself with this time? He doesn't move his position. It was a slow lap. Luckman's going very slowly out the Casio triangle. Willing to bet a mistake has been made there, but on the initial runs it looks like Hunter the Ponte has got an incredible run. Racer Tay down in 9th, he's going to want to improve. Luckman's in the pits. Lorenzi in 8th place is a big shock, and Ruti in 10th, so it looks like pushing the drivers to the limit and making mistakes in the process. Lorenzi in 8th with 6th place. 7th is Walter, but is he going to improve? We saw him go off. We caught him going off the track at turn 8. We come through 130R. So we ride on board, heading into the Casio triangle. Spots your braking point, gets in. It's a great overtaking spot in the race. Expect to see them overtaking the race at the final corner. How tight a line does he get? Very close to the barrier in the run up to the line, and he gets on the front row of the grid with that lap. That was an incredible lap from Walter, but Lorenzi instantly showing him who's boss by going up to second as well. Hunty's starting to drop down the order. Where can Wittmann place himself back up at the front? Only 4th in the second row of the grid, getting ahead of Hunty the Ponte though. Right and lad, he bails out of that one into the pits. Hobo's on an outlap. Racer Tay still down in 9th, still hasn't got, by the looks of things, a clean run, and he is running out of time to do so. He's got Hobo Fraggins. He's going to want to clear him soon if he wants to get a clear piece of track. It looks like he does through the middle of the S. It's going to get tight, I think, Hobo. So we saw was actually on an outlap, so I feel he should have probably let him through, and he's gone off at Dunlop. And off ground, off the track at Dunlop. He's done what Walter did, and has just pushed it too far, his teammate. And he actually drops down to 10th place now, and I think is the last to have set a time. Now here comes Luckman, who I don't believe has set a time, unless he has. Oh, no, he has a 1:14.9, it looks like. Is his time? Does he improve on this out the final corner? You'd like to hope that he does. And that was an outlap, so let's just forget that happened apparently, because that just didn't improve his position at all. Even though it probably should have done, because Tay has set a 1:46 as he approaches the back of Wittmann G into Spoon. Round he goes, it's all looking good. We did actually see him going off the track, so Race Day really pushing the limits now, and he's making mistakes and might be starting down the order, whereas Ruti, I didn't even know he's managed to get up into third place now and onto the second row, but currently it's Lorenzi on his super Formula debut. He's up onto the front row of the grid and only 3/10 off the reigning champion. Elgin 76 to Hawk. Hero Robo, hello. It's Josh, I believe, isn't it? Lorenzi in at the pit lane. Here comes Ruti heading up into Spoon. We've got Walter on the exit onto turn 1. Wittmann looks to have gotten that one wrong. Who's coming this past now? It is, I believe that was Hunter or Wrighton Lad, because it was a Toyota, so it was one of them. And it was indeed Wrighton Lad who didn't set the time on that one. Fabuki runs a little bit wide of the Degners. That didn't look to have cost him too much time. Into the hairpin. How does he take this? That's looking good. Of the Northmen. He's just behind Hunty, who's currently 6th place, but Ruti's looking strong in 5th at the moment. Yep, good. I've been told that before. Here comes Walter into the hairpin and up in 4th. It's looking really good for Walter at the moment as we come to the closing stages of this qualifying session. Here's Race Day going to be able to get a clean lap in. That is the question. He's not managed to get a lap in without a mistake, and he's currently sat down in 10th and now 11th as I think Luckman, he places himself up into 4th. An incredible lap there from Luckman. Again, this is his Super Formula debut. He's actually the Season 1. Sorry about that. The Season 1 Group 3 champion. He has returned to ISRL League Racing, or it was IGTL when he knew it. But there he is, and he's currently up into 4th place. But I think the main focus is Ruti takes back that 4th place. Or Fabuki, sorry, his teammate gets into 3rd. So a strong showing from the Northmen, currently 3rd and 5th. Where is Racer Tay then? I think this is an outlap, as it says. I think he isn't pushing at all, so it'd be willing to bet it is an outlap. He's got Wrighton Lad approaching. He needs to make sure he gets the lap though, gets out the way, stops just before 130R to let him through. That is the right thing to do, staying out the way. He's not really pushing the lap. Wrighton Lad is. And he's got a bit of space now to the cars behind, so we're going to watch Racer Tay, so if he makes a mistake we can catch it live to YouTube and, you know, some viewers that watch this. And here he comes then to open up the lap. Racer Tay, you need to give us everything. This will be his last lap that he gets. So is this going to be good enough? There's Hunty across the line in the background, but our focus here is Tay, who hasn't gotten a clean lap in yet without a mistake. The problem child appears to be turn 8 at the moment this season in this race. A little bit of a wobble across the curve as he heads into the S. He's a little bit wide there. You really don't want to touch the grass. You need to be very careful to track. Gradually gets narrower the higher speeds you get through his corners. Here's the problem child corner, Dunlop. And he looks to have survived today. That's an incredible angle with the Coke Zero sponsorship in the background. Through the Degners, it's really high speed, that first Degner. It's very similar to the Lesmos. Very wide, he's in the bridge! He's in the bridge and he's hit the wall! And that's it, that's Tay's fate sealed, and that looks to be game over for Racer Tay now in qualifying. I don't know what time he can muster up now, but that's a problem. And that appears to be his qualifying over. He's got damage to the front of the car as well. And surely that's going to be Tay then starting at the back. This could be a very interesting race indeed then. So Raiden, he crosses the line knowing his job is done. A second header Lorenzi, but can Lorenzi claw it back at the end of this? He's got Fabuki only a 10th back, I'm not sure. Fabuki's improving, and he's gone deep into the chicane. Lorenzi seems to surrender the qualifying. He's gone deep into the chicane. Fabuki, he's given up then as well at the end. He will start 3rd. An incredible job from him. But what can Ruti do in the new Red Bull team? Along, he's ditched Infinity Racing. He's now with Red Bull. He's got Ruti now, who is teammating Raiden. That's a very, very strong partnership. But what will it deliver? They're currently running 1st and 4th. Here we go then. Down at the back straight, which leads across the bridge. One of the very few double tracks that, you know, cross over each other. But here we go. Into 130R. He's 4/10 down. And I think that's Wittmann. Wittmann manages to get on the 2nd row there. That one caught me out. Luckman, he's finished in 6th place. Walter at 7th. Wrighton 8th. 9th. Fonzie 10th. Fraggins in 11th day. So it is just all waiting on Ruti, who crosses the line. And he doesn't improve. So there is your grid for the very first race of the season. Raiden picking up where he left off with pole position in incredible style. TSF Lorenzi for the Ford EcoBoost team on the front row, and an excellent effort from him. Fabuki right on his tail though. on 3rd place. Only a 10th back, and only a further 10th back, and only a further 10th back, and only 2 tenths back, less than a 10th back. God, it's very close. 2nd through to 7th or 8th even is very, very close indeed. And that's going to be a very interesting race to watch if they remain that close. It'd be interesting to see who gets on this one. This could be a cracking race. Hunty the Punty, he's a bit of a second back from right to left. 2.6 seconds is Harbour back. And that's Race Tay at the very back, who unfortunately couldn't get a good run in and kept making a mistake on every lap. And that has proved to be just the issue there. And Tay will be kicking himself, but he's going to go for one very aggressive race today. So yeah, it's Tay, he's going to have to do one aggressive race. He's starting well out of position. He knows this, but he also knows that the field can be tight as he goes to change his tyres. It looks like it'd be interesting to see then what the tyre strategy will be. Then, what has everyone gone with? It's the same rules that apply for tyres: softs, mediums and hards. But softs, mediums and hards is just, and you have to use 2 of the 3 compounds in the race. We have Raiden on the mediums, Fabuki softs, Lorenzi. Okay, let's just wait for everyone to sort things out. Raiden on the mediums, Lorenzi on the mediums, Fabuki on the soft tyres, Wittmann G on the mediums, Luckman on the softs, Walter softs, Wrighton hards, Harbour Fraggins softs, Tay mediums, and the final will begin. The first race of the new season, the longest season in ISRL history, begins today. Here we go then. It's Raiden on pole position, picking up where he left off. Lorenzi alongside him on the front row. Some of the new names are really making the effort. 3 of them are in the first 6 cars. This could be one cracking race. It's a very tight field, it seems, this season to start with. 18 laps are ahead of us. Who will win the start? Overtaking around here isn't exactly the easiest, but it can be done. The engine's rev. Oh, was that a jump start from Raiden? But he's lights out and away we go. Lorenzi ought to have jumped Raiden off the line. Fabuki's got an incredible start as well, but he's trying to find a way through. Lorenzi takes the lead from Raiden. Fabuki, I think, is trying to find his way through, and I think someone's gone out wide there. That's a Red Bull. That's Ruti gone off. And Harbour Fraggins follows as a Toyota going around the back. Racer Tay instantly making up positions, and up in a 7th ahead of his teammate who's dropped back as well. Luckman holds 5th place with Fleckman 4th. Fabuki holding 3rd, but Raiden has been jumped by Lorenzi off the line, and he knows that's going to be very crucial indeed. He looked to struggle at the start, whereas Lorenzi aced it. Fabuki looked to have a decent launch. Fraggins down in 10th place. Wrighton lad, I think, was waiting, so incidents look to have happened at the very first corner. Racer Tay's gone from 11th to 7th at the very beginning of this race, and now chases down Hunty. Hunty going slow. He's made a bit of a mistake. That allows Tay the opportunity to get through, and I think he's going to try and get around the outside for there, but is this going to be an opportunity? He cuts back. What a move from Tay if he makes that work, and he has. Tay moves up into 6th place, an incredible start, and just the start he needed. Hunty dropping down to 7th place now. Ruti has dropped all the way down to 9th, so it's been a disaster start from Ruti. He just went off at that first corner. Wittmann G's holding 4th, Fabuki's managed to keep himself 3rd at the moment. Raiden knows he's going to have a fight on his hand now. They're both on the medium tyre. So here we go. This is going to be an interesting fight now between Raiden and Lorenzi. He knows he's going to have it all to do today. Is Raiden going to be able to get close enough? He's 3 tenths back, but he's not close enough to get in on this first lap. Fabuki's now trying to hold off Wittmann with Fabuki's teammate Luckman together. So currently, Wittmann is in a Northman sandwich, which is an interesting sentence that I've just said. Racer Tay chasing him down now, and he's done an incredible job. 11th to 6th on the first lap. That's quite the task. He's done that before season 1 in Suzuka. He really had to get it going, as he made very similar errors in qualifying. Walter in 8th place is now holding up Ruti. Ruti's going to need to be patient. Don't do anything too aggressive here, as we might see an interesting race building up now. We have Ruti, who is going to be trying to find his way past. Walter doesn't want to get held up in this race. The tyre wear, which is something I forgot to mention, has been decreased. They finally brought tyres that don't degrade after 4 laps. So the time has been decreased, which opens up strategy a little bit. It's still on 18 times. It'd be interesting to see how much of a difference this makes to the race. Raiden then chasing down, he's about a second back from Lorenzi. Fabuki's keeping him close, and if it's going to be like this for most of the season, with the top 5 not too far apart, 5 seconds covers the top 5, and race day 6, we could have a very interesting fight in our hand throughout this season, and I so hope we do, because I think someone needs to beat Raiden, to be honest. And here comes Lorenzo, who's doing a great job at the moment, just holding out in front. Both are deploying their overtake. Fabuki a bit less on, not deploying his. Fabuki is on the medium, so the top 4, top 5, top 6, top 6 on the mediums. The highest non-medium car is Hunty at the moment, with Walter as well following on the harsh. Ruti on the mediums, still all over the back of Walter. He's not quite close enough to get in through 130. That would be a ballsy move, but Ruti tries to get around the outside there, and that's not quite enough on that occasion. Right and lad on the hards and hover fragments on the softs. I don't think it's going well at the moment. You can see the cars launching their way down. I think that's Race Day trying to find his way past Luckman, and that's Ruti pulling out from a defensive Walter, and Ruti gets the move done on the main straight, touches the grass on the braking, and once there's contact there, I don't think that, well, I mean there was contact, there's damage to the front of Walter and to the back of Ruti, but they both continue going, so I think it's all good. Right and lad, he drops back and just about holding on in the points there. Here's Ruti moving up to 8th place then. So here we go then. The battle up front sees Raiden only 7 tenths behind Lorenzi. Fabuki is doing well in 3rd. He's built a bit of a gap to the cars around him. Lukeman is trying to keep close to Wittmann, but Wittmann's slowly starting to pull away. Racer Tay, he is gained in massively now on Lukeman, and he's going to want to continue to do so to get into that 5th place position. Hunzi's not exactly dropping back. He's managing to stay ahead of the battle during Walter. The key battle for Hunzi will probably be Walter, who's also starting on the hards, and his teammate Lighton, who, as you can see, is coming around there on 10th. They are 3 cars on hards. The majority, apart from Hobo, are on the medium tyres. The medium looks to be the tyre to start on. Raiden, how close is he now to Lorenzi? Only 7 tenths and trying to gain, and he is gaining, but at what cost is he doing to the overtake and to the tyres and to the fuel? He's not quite close enough yet. He isn't getting much closer to Lorenzi than what he is doing, so I don't think Raiden's quite close enough for a potential overtake. He's already used up a quarter of his overtake. He's got to keep it for the rest of the race, but here he comes on the main straight. He's 2 tenths. That gap is coming down. Raiden pulls to the outside. Does he? No, he switches to the inside. There's a bit of contact, and I think Raiden's off. Raiden's off! He goes off into turn 1. A failed overtake manoeuvre from Raiden has sent him off the track and dropping down the order. Fabuki gets past, Wittmann gets past, Luckman gets past, Tay gets past his former teammate, and Hunty I think is also going to get past as Raiden spins to try and get the car back on the track. His teammate Ruti gets past, Walter gets past, right and lad doesn't quite, so Raiden, after trying to take the lead of the race, has dropped all the way down to 9th, and that will surely compromise his race. He's already used up more overtake than most of the other drivers trying to get past Colin. Luckman has used it quite aggressively. Wittmann, who's had a habit of forgetting what his button is, that has put Fabuki up into 2nd in his first Super Formula race. What a race it's turning out for the new people, with Lorenzi and Fabuki leading this race now. And Luckman's not doing too bad in 4th place. The Northman Ironman car is really doing wonders at the moment in 2nd and 4th. Unbelievable scenes in this Suzuka race. A battle for the lead has ended up in chaos as Raiden drops to the order, and that's going to be surely looked into after this race. That is a very interesting incident, and I'm sure there will be a lot of talk about who was at fault for that one. There was a lot of movement. I think Raiden tried a very interesting move to get down that inside, but I'm not sure whether Lorenzi moved across to cover him off or not. But that has allowed Lorenzi now a 2-second gap actually over Fabuki, who himself has a 2.5 second gap to Wittmann, who has a 4-second gap to Luckman, who has a 2.3 second gap to Tay, who has a 2-second gap to Hunty, to Ruti and Walter and Raiden, who are now very close to each other. So the 2 Red Bulls have had chaos, and Hunty's in. Hunty, interestingly, is the first to pit, and he started on the hard tyres. So it's a very interesting decision. He pits onto the mediums and he comes out ahead of his teammate and in 9th place. It's a free position for Raiden. Walter looks like he's going to try and get around the outside of Ruti there through that first corner. It doesn't seem to be enough, but it's a very interesting move there from Hunty to pit in on lap 5, which is really early, especially given the cars on the mediums haven't really had much in the way of tyre wear. Fragen's pits, but that's to be expected as he has started on the softs, so he's managed to get them to go 5 laps. I wonder if there's a reason. There's Walter. Walter tries to make a move into the Degners, and we caught the back end of that. But Ruti gets back around the outside, and Hunty, who has just pitted in and was ahead of this lot, is just overtaken Walter. So Walter is now a pit stop behind Hunty, and Hunty's going for the move on Ruti, but not quite enough there. And Reiter has caught up out of all this. So Walter has yet again fallen victim to a botched overtake as Raiden gets past Ruti. I wonder if there was any team orders involved in that one. Here comes Hunty into Spoon. He now has fresher tyres to attack Ruti, and he is attacking. Oh, he's got into Spoon. That would have been an interesting move, and he's making it work down the inside into the second part of Spoon to get the run out the exit and onto the straight. And what a move from Hunter. You've got to applaud that one, pitting in for fresh tyres just a lap, and has made his way up into 7th, which is where he was approximately anyway. So he's managed to get himself a pit stop ahead of this lot. So he pitted in, came out behind them, and has just overtaken them all. So now Ruti is now holding up Walter, who's gone right onto the back, touching the gravel a little there. An incredible move from Hunter's managed to get him up into 7th place. Has Ruti felt the need to go defensive, or is he going to try and get into the slipstream? Now that's a lovely shot to see these cars going down. So similar cars, obviously. Here's Walter in the Walte racing car. The Brabham Walte racing car. Here we go then. Is this going to be close enough for Ruti? No, not to get on Ruti, not into the S's. You would have to be brave to make a move into the S's. As for the battle up front, Fabuki's closing in on Lorenzi, but as far as lap times are concerned, Fabuki getting a massive waddle on 43.4, 42.2, 42.3 compared to 43.1, 43.1, 42.0. So the faster times out of the last couple of laps is with Lorenzi. Lorenzi seems more consistent. Wittmann as well, he's getting 43.6. It's the battle up front, looks like that's going to be one that's going to go on for a long time. Meanwhile, this battle, he's got, as Walter has a header right to the line, he's trying to get past Ruti here. He tries to get him on the exit of the hairpins, we caught the back end of that. Not quite enough, but Ruti is dropping down the order, he seems to be losing time. Can Walter get past him? In the same way Hunty got past him. Just a lap ago, here he goes, is he going to go for it down the inside into the Spoon? No, I don't think it's close enough. He didn't have the run on it, but what Ruti's tyres really look to be falling off the cliff now. Hunty's tyres, he's going slow. I think he's ghostly. He might pick up a penalty, and he's suddenly back into the clutches of these three. And Walter's going to try and find his way past. He's fighting his way past down the inside, heading into 130R. Ruti's going to try and hold that around the outside. This is going to be chaos. And now Reichenlard tries to get past him into 130R. Now Ruti's trying to get down the inside of Walter. What is going on with these four cars? They're all scrapping for him. Meanwhile, in all of this, Raiden, Tay, Luckman, all pitting in. Lorenzi, Fabuki and Wittmann. So they have now all pitted. Where does this leave Hunty, who has stayed out? He's going to get ahead of Raiden. He's going around the outside of Raiden, and Hunty takes 5th place. So Hunty, for position, is now into 5th. Raiden's on the mediums. Walter, he's remaining out on the hards. Ruti's staying out on the mediums. Tay, he is on the hards, and he tries to get to the inside. He's holding it side by side through the S's between these two. Tay's race doesn't look to be going too well. He's trying to get around the outside of Ruti. What a move from Tay in the S's. Ruti's tyres are surely dying now, and he's in the gravel. He's in the gravel. He's just ran out of grip there. And now it looks to be his race really falling off now then. Raiden behind Hunty, though Hunty yet again. Walter getting a little bit out of shape in the background there. That's Raiden shaping up a move to the inside, switches to the outside. He's going to try and get the cut back on Hunty. You bet he is, and he makes that move. That was easy as you like there. Interestingly, Luckman pits for the soft tyres, as does Fabuki. So both of the Northman cars have opted for the soft tyres. Lorenzi will have to pit again. These will have to pit again. And then so the entire top 4 are definitely top 5 going to have to pit again, because they'll start on the mediums and pitted on for another set of the mediums. Hunty, if he can make these tyres go the extra 10 laps, doesn't, but I can't see him doing that. Walter, we can expect him to do his usual strategy of going as long as possible on the hard lane. Really don't look in a bad condition, but into 130R, the two teammates trying to trade places and do that splendidly. Although Walter's going straight back at him into the chicane. Is this a teammate's problem? Yes, it is. There's no team orders there today, but Race Day forces his way through. No team orders at Walter, but Race Day's managed to get ahead, trying to recover from a disappointing qualifying, and he's currently down in 7th. It's little to know where he actually is at the moment in this race, but he's not really in this fight for the win between Lorenzi and Fabuki, which was kind of given by a botched overtake attempts from Raiden to take the lead, which is an issue that we saw. It'll be interesting to see what the drivers will think of it, as Raiden actually goes purple in that first sector there, so really pushing through. Fabuki holds the fastest lap, there's no prizes or fastest lap in this one. Lugman's fallen some 15 seconds off his teammate, who has just been overtaken by Wittmann somewhere, so I wonder if a mistake has been made by Fabuki. These two running on the soft tyre, Raiden on the medium, and rapidly approaching. Hunty also on the medium, and the oldest tyres, well, as far as apart from Walter, but Walter and Hunty's tyres are about the same actually. Raiden Lad's tyres going well as well. Ruti pitted onto the 7 mediums, and Hall of Fraggins on the softs. He pitted on the same lap as Hunty did. So we've got Lorenzi ahead of Wittmann, with Fabuki now in 3rd place with teammate Lukman in 4th, but Raiden is quickly approaching. Hunty 5th, Rich takes 6th, 7th, 8th please. Walter, Raiden Lad, sorry, spins it round at Spoon, and that's Walter flying past for 8th. Raiden Lad drops down to 9th. Ruti's had a bit of a disaster race as well. He's now down in 10th place, so a bit of a disaster for him. We now though have Hunty and Racete getting very close to each other on the track. Just over half a second slits them as they come onto the main straight now. Racete using a lot of his overtake this race, but he has been pushing. Hunty goes very aggressively to the inside, and he continues to go to the inside. Tay swoops to the outside, and he gets around the outside, and he makes that move for 6th place. And now he goes hunting down his former teammate Raiden, who was his teammate last season. Onto the Ponte, he drops down to 7th place. Walter, he is now in 8th. Raiden down to 9th, 10th place Ruti, a really disappointing race for him, and Hall of Fraggins in 11th, now a minute behind the car in front. Lukman, he is sliding through, but he's got Raiden very quickly approaching, the 2-time champion. He is the reigning champion, looking to get all 3 championships that will be raced in Super Formula. Will he do it or will we see another champion? And if this first race is anything to go by, it looks like we're going to have competition. And there's yellow flags. Is someone round? It's Fraggins. He is round, and there goes Wittmann through, so he's now a lap down. But I think all eyes at the moment are on this battle for 4th. Can Raiden, who's slowly trying to claw his way up after a failed overtake early on, sent him down the order. Here we go then. Raiden, half a second. He's closing in. He's closing in. We're not using his overtake. Lukman's used considerably less actually than what Raiden's used. Raiden clearly pushing, doesn't go for it into 130i, he backs out of that one. Does he go for it into the chicane? Yes he does. No he doesn't, sorry, he backs out of that one, and Raiden does not go for the overtake into the Casio triangle, instead waits to get him on the straight possibly. I mean, he tried this on Lorenzi for the lead, it didn't work. Lukman seems a lot more compliant and doesn't move across the track. Raiden gets to the inside, he holds the inside, and he is ahead. Majority of overtakes we have seen have been on to turn 1, but Raiden moves himself up into 4th place. Meanwhile, in the background we've got Ruti trying to defend against a fast approaching Raiden Lad. Ruti has recently pitted, teams on lap 7, he chose to come into the pits. Raiden Lad, he is coming around now, trying to catch up on those hards he's been running the start on, as has Walter. And I think at this stage they can probably one-stop this race and be the only 2 drivers to do the one-stop. I think Hunty forced his hand and he's down in 7th place onto a 2-stop by pitting on lap 5, and I don't think the mediums can go 13 laps. I'm curious to see what the decision was to change strategy. We won't be talking to other drivers, we will still be sticking to our top 3 drivers to be communicating with, which at the moment, if it should finish like this, would be Lorenzi, Wittmann and Fabuki, but with Raiden, he's Is he gaining in? I mean, Fabuki's got the soft tyres and they ain't going to the end, so Fabuki's due to stop. As is Raiden, Wittmann and Lorenzi as they pitted onto the tyres they started on effectively. I think Wittmann on the mediums and he's on the mediums, they start the same tyres. Luckman is on the soft tyres as well, so he's going to have to pit again. Whereas Tay's on the hards now, so I wonder if Tay is going to try and one-stop this race. And Fabuki, speaking of pit stops, Fabuki pits in. Is he going to try and undercut Wittmann and Raiden? Been interesting to see if he goes for that. Luckman, his teammate, follows him in, so the team are double stacking. Looks to work. Where's Tay? Tay looks like he's going to jump ahead. How about Hunty? Possibly, depends how long. I don't think anyone has actually. Luckman comes back out in 5th. So that's a problem for Race Tay. He's currently sat in 6th, and I think if Tay's one-stopping, he's going to have a hard time getting past Luckman on fresh softs. And I think Fabuki will also be on fresh softs. They look to be committed to the same strategy, and I think they're going to the end of the race now. And crucially, Fabuki is now ahead of Raiden. So is this responding? Was perfectly responded for the team to send Fabuki in, so we're rapidly catching up Raiden. And now Raiden is actually losing time to Fabuki, who is on fresh softs. So suddenly Raiden's going to have a hard time. And if Fabuki can close that gap down to the cars in front like he is doing, then Fabuki can probably go. He currently sits 11 seconds. If he gets that gap down, there's a chance Fabuki could be fighting for the win in the closing stages of this race. Though the only problem is I could see Lorenzi, Wittmann and Raiden pitting for fresher softs. But Raiden, is he going to respond to the stop from Fabuki? I'm pitting this lap because he's got both cars now around him. Now it'll be interesting to see if they force Raiden's hand into pitting on this lap. We've got, I think, a battle shaping up between Ruti and Walter, as well as Hunty and Hobo, though Hunty trying to lap Hobo. And I'm not sure where Hobo's going with that one, but here comes Ruti then, only half a second behind Walter as they approach down the main straight, or back straight as they head into 130i. Is Ruti going to go for it on Walter? Yes, he tries. There was a bit of wheel banging, but Walter goes off the track and slips behind. An interesting move there from Ruti to go into 130i. But he made his work to finish, although there was a bit of wheel banging. And Walter goes off the track of the Casio Triangle, still continuing on. And Hunty, the punter, who has recently stopped, he's paid off the mediums on the soft, so he's going for all three now. And I think the softs can make the end. It's a very interesting strategy choice. Hunty is going with who he's off. It's Tay. Tay's off at the first corner, and that's lost him a lot of time to Luckman. Really, I mean, look, Tay has to. I don't know if Tay's doing a one-stop. Any chances now of getting any higher than 6 are over, and it's going to be difficult for him to hold off the cars of Ruti and Walter and Hunty, who are going to have much fresher tyres as Hunty tries to get around the outside of Walter in the middle of the S's, heading through Dunlop now. And now, suddenly Tay looks like he might be under pressure from Ruti soon, who hasn't pitted, but it'd be interesting if Ruti can get close enough to Tay out the exit the pits. How close he can get. So Ruti has pitted, hasn't he? Yes, Ruti is pitted, but it is Walter that hasn't along with Brighton line. He does need to, but they will be going very late on into the end, and we'll see if Hunty gets past into the spool this time. It doesn't quite. Luckman is suddenly all over the back of Raiden, so that gap has really not worked. It's gone up to 8 seconds between Raiden and Wittmann, and Luckman might be shaping up a move for 4th place, so pitting in for the Knoxmen. They look to have the strategy absolutely perfectly set up now, and here comes Luckman, and Raiden does pit in, as does Wittmann. They've realised what's going on here, and as Fabuki takes 2nd, Luckman is going to take 3rd, and suddenly they're both on the podium. The strategy has worked a treat for these two. Wittmann out now on softs, though. Raiden out on softs. This is going to be one hell of a race, lads, in the build-up to the finish. The question is, Wittmann, Raiden, soft tyres, fresh softs, can they get to the end? Tay, he's pitting in. He's probably going to go softs and go aggressive to the end. Right and Lad finally pits in. Walter continues on. Tay on the medium, so he doesn't think the tyres can get to the end. Hunty trying to get past Walter. Tay crucially comes out behind these two. With Ruti and Raiden, they're now, Wittmann and Raiden, so they're now fresh softs compared to a couple of lap old softs these guys were on. Fabuki is very much in the fight for this win. and maybe a possible 1-2 here, but what's going to need to happen is they're going to need to fend off Wittmann and Raiden, who are going to be very quickly approaching. We could be in for one hell of a race with Lorenzi as well still to pit, hanging out in the lead there. If he's going to pit onto fresh softs, I reckon he might drop it down to third, but just behind Luckman. Although if not, then second. It's going to be a fight for the win today, boys. It's going to be one hell of a race to witness. Raiden still chasing down Wittmann, and in turn he's trying to chase down Luckman, and that gap is coming down. It's only a 5-second window, but that gap is only a 4-second window between Lorenzi, who does pit, and so that does mean Fabuki will be about to take the lead of his first race here. Now, where is Luckman in response to this? Is he going to be close enough? Lorenzi's filling up with a bit of fuel, so that's Luckman's opportunity to try and get into second. He is now released, and Luckman gets out in third, so Lorenzi splits the two Northmen. Now with Wittmann and Raiden chasing down Luckman, it looks like they're not going to work together to try and get a podium. They're both going to race each other now, which is going to help Luckman as Raiden looks to try and get to the inside. That's not quite enough. Was he panicked a little bit by trying after getting memories now? Lorenzi versus Fabuki. Fabuki pitted on lap it was 11, I believe that is. Yeah, lap 10 he pitted. Lorenzi has just pitted, so there is like a 3-lap difference in the tyre life. Luckman as well has got 3-lap older tyres, or like 2-lap older tyres, than that of Wittmann and Raiden. These positions in the top 5 could still change. We've got Tay and Hunty. Tay on the mediums, Hunty on the softs that are considerably older than Tay's mediums. I'm not sure what Hunty's doing on the strategy, but I think he's going to be hung out to dry there. Walter, he's dropped down to 9th place as Wrighton, but I think there's still hope for them as Walter pit onto the softs. Wrighton chose the mediums. Now how about Fraggins? It's definitely going to be a race to forget. Only 2 seconds now for Lorenzi and for Fabuki, and it's only 2 seconds for Wittmann and Luckman, with Raiden only a further second back. So the top 5 is still all up for grabs now. Here we go, Lorenzi 2 seconds back from Fabuki as we go into the final 5 laps of this race, and look, Fabuki's in. Fabuki's responded to the change and he's had to pit, and I think that's for fuel most importantly. So that's problems as Lorenzi picks up a penalty. Will Luckman get to the end? No. So when we were thinking Luckman and Fabuki could both have a strong race, that's caused problems. Fabuki's still up to second though, so it looks like that fight's going to be for a podium between Wittmann and Raiden. Luckman dropping down to 5th, but where's Tay? He's just coming into 130 now, so he's safe from him. So I think Luckman is massively safe in 5th place, yes he is, but now the interesting battle will still be between Wittmann and Raiden. So the pitting for fuel is preventing Fabuki and Luckman from both getting on. They've taken the opportunity to pit for fresh tyres, so that's advantage back into Luckman's favour if he can focus, get the hammer down now, pushing to the end, and I'm sure he will be, to try and get that gap down to Raiden and Wittmann. Be interesting to see if he can do it. 4.7 seconds then is the gap between Fabuki and Lorenzi. Will this be enough? Will the fresh tyres now put Fabuki back in contention to try and take the lead of the race? That will be an interesting question which he will answer in the next 4 laps. So heading into the spoon, Ruti has pitted, putting Hunty back into 7th. Walter drops to 9th place, and Reitmar just hanging on in the points there. And Ruti, I think he almost went round there. That's allowing Walter to get right onto his tail. Meanwhile, we've got Raiden and Wittmann a second apart, and that gap isn't really coming down between Fabuki and Lorenzi, or Wittmann and Fabuki. So battle of the front has been a very, very close race indeed. Got Hobo, who's about to be lapped by, I think that's Fabuki, as we catch up with Franks now going into the pit lane. Strong, Charté is going to be kicking himself after this one. A disappointment. Raiden's in, so Raiden has now chosen to pit in. 3 laps to go. Raiden's pitting in for an extra set of softs. Now that is, he's not going to put Longman into 4th. No, it does not. Longman wasn't close enough. But that's put Raiden onto a fresh set of softs. Now, is that to try and chase down Wittmann, or at the very least now, to get that gap down low enough to force Wittmann's hand to make a pit stop? An interesting decision there. The gap's not really coming down, so I think Lorenzi's safe, and Hunty makes yet another pit stop. I'm pretty sure that's like his 3rd or his 4th. A lot of stops going on in this first race, and Hunty gets moving again in 7th place. Ruti and Walter just in the background there, but he's gone now ahead of that battle, which is crucial now, and he's got a fresher set of softs than these two, so that is crucial that he should be able to keep that position. Meanwhile, Wittmann is still trying to chase down Fabuki and has failed, whereas Fabuki has got that gap down on this lap to Lorenzi. However, will Wittmann pit this lap in response to Raiden? I don't think he can, because if he does, he's just surrendering a position. So with the 2 laps left, after this lap obviously, pretty much 2 laps left, I think Wittmann's best interest in getting that podium is to hold off Raiden. He needs to stay ahead of Raiden and stay there to try and defend against Raiden. That is probably his best shot now, because pitting in wouldn't help, and it's too late really for him to make a difference. Fabuki has got that gap down by a second. I think he's too little too late though, as he grabs the fastest lap. Can Raiden respond to that as we head into the penultimate lap? 17, 1.4 seconds, 1.3 seconds, sorry, for 3rd place with just 2 laps to go. Fabuki's got 3.8, it's coming down like a 10th every time. Although it starts to go up through the S's, so through these S's, I think Lorenzi has the edge. Meanwhile, the midfield battle sees Ruti in 8th, 7th place Hunty. I think we're pretty much established that this will be our top 6 then. Lorenzi, Fabuki, Wittmann, Raiden, Luckman, Racete will be scrapping out for these top 6 positions, and Raiden is less than a second to Wittmann, so Wittmann's going to have to hope these two have done battle many times in the past in Super Formula and in other leagues. They know each other well, they get along with each other well, but will that relationship hold? They are both champions, they're both really quick drivers, but will that relationship hold after this one? Raiden looks to go to the outside, he tries to perform the cutback. I think Wittmann knows that his race is over with Raiden on softer tyres, fresher tyres, sorry, but he holds him off. Wittmann stays ahead as they head into Spoon and looks to try and almost cover the inside there. Does Raiden go for the inside and Spoon? No, he thinks better of that one. Running out of time is Raiden. He knows he's got an extra lap though, and he might just do it into the chicane, and if not the first corner. Here we go then, is Raiden going to try and get it into 130R though? He's gaining, he's using the overtake. And I think he's using his overtake dry, as Wittmann has got very little, and I think Wittmann's holding it. He's not backing down, but Raiden gets around the outside into 130R. Incredible move from Raiden to get around the outside there, and to do it for the podium. Someone is just recovering from a spin. It's Fraggins. Like I said, I don't think he's going to be wanting to remember this one. Fabuki just 3 seconds off Lorenzi. Raiden gets the move for the podium. But can Wittmann fight back? I don't think he can. Luckman, 5th place, but Fabuki and Lorenzi have both driven an incredible race. Lorenzi, I believe, was lead pretty much the entire race, apart from like 1 lap. But obviously, a rather interesting incident happened earlier on, as Lorenzi begins finishing off the final lap of this first race. Hunty in 7th place, he's looking like he's delivering a strong performance with Ruti 8th. 9th place Walter, 10th Ryton, and Hobo, who's just never really looked anywhere above last, and that's a rather disappointing start for him as he almost touches the grass again. Fabuki's catching in though, 2 seconds. I think it's just too little too late. It's not going to be enough for Fabuki to get ahead before the end of this race, but I'm sure he is going to try. Is it going to be enough though? 2 seconds, it's closing down, but I think Lorenzi, as he knows he's heading into 130R for the last time, if he doesn't make a mistake, the win is his. And we look like, as we head into the final chicane for the final time, we have a new winner in the Super Formula League. TSF Lorenzi wins his first ever Super Formula race, and well done to him. Fabuki doing a great job bringing it home. 2nd place, 3rd place, a massive fight back after an incident earlier on, which I'm sure people will be looking at. That puts him into 3rd place, and well done to him to come back from that one. Wittmann 4th, it was looking like a possible podium, but in the end he lost it after at the end with Raiden on fresher tyres. Luckman did a great job in 5th place. He's just been consistently around that area, bringing on the points. Racete, he's trying to lap over Fraggins, who hasn't exactly had the best of races. Then Tay laps him into the chicane yet again, does he? Although Hobo looks to just continue on a bit, although I think he's stopped there at the chicane. So yeah, Racete, here he comes now to finish the final corner from last place to 6th. Hunty He comes 7th. 8th place is Fruity in Red Bull. 9th Walter, although they're very close. And Wrighton Lad is off at Spoon and has stopped at Spoon. And Hover Fraggins brings up the rear. There they are then, your official results for the first round of the Super Formula League, and well done to them. Great job then. And there's Lorenzi, who manages to put himself up another result with a victory, and a great way to start the season. And his super time in Super Formula. Here we go then. The interviews, the obvious interviews, are about to happen, obviously, because they're obvious and they're interviews, which is Raiden. I should probably do this the other way. Hold on a second. Oh, Raiden's just ended it. Well, that's a problem. It just ended. I didn't even get to stream the thing out properly. Oh well. We're gonna go push on though with these interviews. We'll resend them the email. Poster sent. Yeah, I didn't get the replay. I didn't even get the replay, but we'll see if any of them join. I mean, in the meantime, let's look at the Gran Turismo menu, because why not, I guess. I mean, Raiden just decided it was over. He wasn't waiting around. Doesn't look like we're going to be getting anyone. I don't think we are getting anyone, but was a good race. Yeah, I don't think anyone is joining us today, so we shall end. In fact, no, there's a different party up, isn't there? Push the wrong button. Let's cancel it. There is a different party up. Should we jump in this? This could prove to be utter chaos. Hey boys.
By the way, thingy it is shared. I've shared delivery, not delivery. The people.
Oh, cool. No, so, shall we talk about the race? I am still streaming, yeah, because I was going to do the interviews, but the top 3 didn't join. So I will talk to you guys. So today's interviews, we have Race Tay, Walter, Ruti, and Hunter. So let's talk. Tay, we'll start with you, because I think it's safe to say qualifying didn't go well.
Yeah, it's got nasty on the traffic, and then nothing else.
What happened in the race then? Because you didn't really seem to make up that many positions in the race either.
Made up
yeah, it seemed stronger. No, there was no punts involved. It was all clean. It was just.
You just got to 6th and didn't seem to move forward.
Yeah, a bit of an off race. I had a few good moments though.
Yeah. Who else? Walter, you're in here. Let's talk about your race, shall we?
Start with a bit. I think I went 2 wide through 130R with Tay, and I was a bit like, oh god, contact will be made. But with Petri, might have been contact, not going to question it too much, but overtakes, fine, no contact half the time. I've spun it once nearly.
Oh yes. Yeah, you just reminded me. There was a bit of wheel banging at 130R. I believe that was with Tay. Or was it with Petri?
It was. I think it might have been with Tay. Wasn't big enough to destroy our race, but Petri was a bit more major. I'm not going to complain about it anymore. Who's that from that piece, guys?
Petrish, we talk about your race.
Yeah, I destroyed my own race. First lap, first turn, I went wide and then I stuck behind dirty air and fighting with Walter mainly.
That leaves Hunter.
Yeah, Hansi also, but
Yeah, Hunter, what happened in your race? Oh yeah, what on earth was your strategy, Hunter?
Well, clearly my strategy didn't pan out as much as I thought. I was going to do a two-stop, hard for a little bit of the race, and then go medium for quite a longish stint, then softs at the end. Didn't pan out as much as I like, so I'm definitely going to revise that for future races.
You were the first to pit, and you started on hards. Like, that's what threw me off. You pitted on lap 5 on hards, whilst other people were on mediums that weren't that bad. Yeah, it's waterproofed.
Yeah, so I'll have a look, see what I can do about strategy for the next race. Other than that, it was a good race. Me and Tate had some ding-dong battles going on. He'd made a cracking up move around the outside into turn 1, if you saw that.
Oh, I was just looking at the stream. There was visual evidence.
Overall then, what did you think of this new season of Super Formula?
It's going to be interesting.
I'm looking forward to it.
Personally, I think the battle at the front could be quite interesting if there's races out to go by.
Indeed,
Yeah.
indeed.
Because Red and...
Didn't win once.
No, I think...
I'm surprised.
Yeah, I think if you watch the stream, it's pretty clear why Red didn't win.
Well, to come back from where he went.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I think this could be an interesting season. We've got drivers that are fighting up at the front that could definitely make things interesting.
Definitely. I'll be looking forward to all the little battles.
Also-
especially Petri and Tay.
yeah.
Also, the next race is Willow Springs, Big Willow. Thoughts heading into that one?
Yes, I love
Just
Yeah,
my
boy.
thoughts. Just
Yeah.
why?
Because it's a fun track.
It's going to be an interesting one because I
Democracy has
don't.
had its say.
CSX Captain Price.
I'll be honest.
It's proper off.
I don't think many people in the next race will be using hard tyres because with Springs being a short circuit and not a track light, not going to be too light on tight wear, is it?
There's quite a few fast
So it's going to be interesting. It definitely will be interesting to see what happens.
That'll be interesting.
Well, I guess we'll leave it there then. It was a relatively typical cracking race yet again. And obviously next race, not next weekend, week after, 6 o'clock. And then all races prior will be every Saturday, 6 o'clock. And yeah. Goodbye stream.